guys, welcome back to another episode of the DataPod where our conversations connect the dots. Yes, I'm very sure that you enjoyed our first session. I hope that we were able to pick one or two, things, maybe quotes that my bosses here might have said. And
Bosses.
I hope
I'm just
you've
an
been able
intern.
to, at least you're not as confused as you were.
Favour has started again. This bosses thing.
I hope you are not as confused as you were before watching our first episode. So today we are going to be talking about what it actually means to be a data professional, behind the dashboards, behind the SQL querying, behind everything, data cleaning, handling stakeholders, what it actually means. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, "Oh, Favour, I just started learning data. That what do you actually do in your company?" And I just said, "Oh, I do what data analysts do." She's like, "Oh, what do data analysts people actually do?" And I was like, "Actually, what do data analyst people actually do?" Because a lot of people just have a lot of misconceptions that, we just build dashboards, we just do querying, we just do, and like I was discussing with my bosses, I said that as data professionals, every field, irrespective of your data engineer, we have one objective, right? So what does it actually mean what do the data professional actually do? What value? So I don't know. I'm here to learn, Sha. So I don't know if you can tell us what you know, our boss Samuel, or tell us.
Okay. As a data professional, like I like to say it. So even if you are a data analyst or whatever field whatever role you're playing in the data ecosystem, right? You're a problem solver first of all.
Nice.
Sure.
Problem solver.
Right. So you have to always let us sink. Right. So of course you're the one that everybody will come to for, hey, we need this data, we need this, we need that. So you have to have that problem solving mindset first. Right. So that's what it takes to be a data
Professional.
anything.
Wow.
Right. Problem solver. Right. So and that being said, right, I know, we are we fancy the dashboards, the fine charts and here and there, right? But behind all of that, I'm sure there's a whole lot of process that goes, into all of that. And there are times where you just want to cry
I'm telling
because the shaggy
I just cleaned my
formats
eyes before I came to this
that
place. I'm
that
telling
you face
Yeah.
to get to that point.
Crazy.
Do we need to even talk about the unrealistic timelines? When, I'm sorry, whoever my manager is, wherever you are, when your manager would have gone to, on your behalf, give the stakeholders a timeline. Tell them to be ready in the next 24 hours. When you don't even know the requirement yet, you don't even understand the requirement, right? But you expect to just perform magic, right?
Yeah.
So behind all the fancy names, I'm a BI analyst, I'm a this, I'm a that, behind all the, cool stuff that we do as data professionals, there are a lot of, I feel like it's not being said enough.
Yeah.
The struggles that you have to
it's not being said.
go through
Yeah.
to, get some of these results.
Yeah.
Right? Especially on the job. If you are still, not working professional as data analyst, maybe you're still learning. I mean, it's fine. No, there's no pressure. But once you start working, expectations are stakeholders don't have time.
They don't have time.
Right?
No time to
they
check
just
time.
want you, at the snap of your finger, get me what I want. And, be the Sherlock Holmes.
Crazy.
Do like the mailing kind of thing and provide, whatever they want anytime, however they want it. So, there's a whole lot that goes into the work that we do as data professionals, right? I feel like we can say a lot, right, on this episode, but yeah, like it's just it. Like I talked about the, timelines, a project that should literally take like, say, 1 month. Yeah, I expect to deliver it in like less than a week. How? Like how?
Asal.
So this is that. There is that. I can begin to go on and on.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you can go on and on. Yeah. So Wow. Like wow. So like I think we should actually like remove this data analyst stuff and just say, okay, you are a problem solver. We're employing you to be a problem solver.
Literally a problem solver.
You are a problem solver. Whether you are a data analyst, you are whatever, you are a problem solver. Like my boss has said though. So me, I'm now a problem solver. So Suraj, I know. Please tell us. I don't know
smiling
anything.
because it has always been a different thing for me because it's governance.
Yeah.
So when the business comes, so for editor analysts, they get the requirements. So you gather all the requirements. The timeline is part of it actually. So, but in the end, all of these things still falls back to the data governance team,
Right.
because you can have like a manager, just book like it's going to take just like maybe sometimes just tell them, okay, before close of business you should have it.
Yeah.
But the analyst is not going to perform magic.
At all.
But there are many other things that are still going to play out, and it's going to affect the authenticity of
Your
what
report.
will be
Yeah,
supplied.
integrity, right?
So now for me, the experience has been like, okay, for a data analyst or in data analytics, so it's an act of analyzing data, okay, to bring out insights.
Yeah.
So that the business can make actionable decisions. So in quotes, the insight is what will bring out the decisions. So now for a data analyst, you just create your dashboard. It's 1 minute. Okay, don't worry, I'll supply you in 1 minute. And even now that we have ChatGPT and all of these AIs, they can just give you what you want. All of those things are there. But deep down, when it now comes to sanity, you now get to know that, or when the business has the data, they're looking through the data and it's now like, these things are too good to be true.
Yeah.
So for a professional, for instance, now, because I had an experience where we had a situation where we were trying to get like the top, top 10 loyal customers. Okay, they were buying well, doing great. But surprisingly, when we analyzed and we got the list of the top 10 or the top 20 customers, top performing customers, we had like, okay, from the top 10, when we place call through to those guys that, okay, we want to invite you to our company because you are good, you are patronizing us, you are doing well. Surprisingly, it was just like all those 10 customers we invited were not truly customers. They were field agents.
Wow.
So it means there's a particular process that was supposed to be followed, the protocol, but they will skip the process, they skip the numbers, just want to bypass that process. They're supposed to onboard some customers, but you're now putting your own information
As
the customer's information.
Yeah.
In that case, business wants top 20 customers, top performing customers. You analyze as a data analyst, you don't know. Because to you, they are the customers. But here now, you have your field agent posting as the customers. So for an analyst now, you'll be like, I've done the best. Like, we've given them switch charts. Everything is good.
Wrong data.
It is very wrong.
Yeah, very wrong.
So dealing with those so it's not just your fancy dashboards, all of those. But there are so many things that are happening deep down, maybe like from the data collection phase, that will speak volume to the kind of insights you'll be getting, down to the decisions the management will be making. So all of this are part of what goes underground.
Wow. A lot of things goes underground.
There's something I just thought about now.
Yeah.
I remember, I'm sure you guys have, in one way, I'm sure you guys have experienced it. I mean, you spend hours, days building, deploying a project, right? A BI project, as a data analyst. And then after everything, you have a dashboard, makes sense, and all of that. And then the stakeholders are now telling you that, can we have it in Excel?
Oh,
I mean, like, can we export it to Excel? Like, you now wonder, like, have I been joking all the while? Like, what's the point?
But
I mean, no shades to Excel. Excel is a great tool. Like,
Yeah,
but like I'm like in my mind, I'm just like,
Why did I have to
you
go through
knew
the-
that you
the
wanted
pain?
this
Yeah.
raw data. Like, I could just pull out the data for you and give it to you, and make whatever you want to make of it. But then I'll do all of these things, do all the fancy things for you, and then you're telling me that I want it in Excel. I mean,
but me,
how?
I feel the destination of most of what we do. Okay, maybe like from your analysis and all of those things, it's still going to end in Excel. That's why you even have on those platforms. You always have them like export to Excel.
export to Excel.
So because they just know that okay, you might need to do some
granular,
further processing of
from
this
granular
analysis.
works.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
sometimes it's always like okay, for sure, you need to take it to Excel. But there are some guys that they don't really need dashboard.
Yeah, they
They
don't.
don't really need dashboarding. They only need because even there are some companies that are not even mature, they're not data mature
Yeah.
to go into or to adopt some of these tools that we have outside there.
Right.
Excel is going to be good for them.
Good for
because
them.
they
So I
don't
think that's where the data maturity. You have to understand your maturity, your company's data maturity. And so some companies, where they are in data production or consumption, they don't need too much.
Yeah, they don't need too
stuff.
much. Yes,
Like,
yes.
Excel is just fine.
Yeah, very
Or
fine.
maybe at best database.
Yes,
Or any of these small ad hoc
even
reporting
MetaBase
tools,
they'll
right?
still tell you to take it to Excel or as a CSV file.
Yeah,
So-
they will. They will.
so
They will.
Excel is still like I feel Excel is
I mean, like
Excel
you are a
is
data analyst,
huge.
you don't know Excel. Are you really a data analyst?
Sorry.
You're not a data analyst.
There are
I'm
a lot
sorry.
I mean, now in this era of what's it called now? Like in this era of everybody wants to be everyone wants to,
everybody is a
like
analyst
there's
now.
so
Yeah,
so-
things,
everybody-
there's a lot
I
of
mean,
there's a lot
everybody,
of
yeah.
there's a lot of tools, BI tools here and there. So that's why we in our previous episode, I mentioned, if you remember correct, I mentioned that starting from the basics is important. Before you start, working on like crunching numbers and all. Excel is one platform, one tool that would help you to actually, will give you that grounded experience with numbers on how to manipulate stuff and all, just with basic. So, but most people now, I mean, it's sad when you're talking to. We'll get to that part in our comments.
we'll
Where you
get
talk
there.
about should data engineers or should data scientists that don't even know how to use Excel.
I'm
No,
telling you,
data
they
engineers
don't know
don't
how
how to use
to
Excel.
do that.
They just sideline Excel just because they
Because I
feel
feel
it's
like
not
Excel
required.
is too. But then
You know, there's one thing I used to say, right? It might be very controversial, but like I say that all these data tools that we use, all of them are the same.
Absolutely.
They are all the same. Excel, Kini, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, they're all the same thing. They do the same thing. Like the ultimate thing we are expected, do aggregations for us, prepare reports, prepare charts, you understand, right? They are all linked. That is why on the previous episode I said something. Understand the why. The why is better than the how. Because I need to join two tables. I want to get information from this table. I get information from this table. Now, that is the why. The how is, on Excel, I can use my VLOOKUP. On SQL, I can use my joins. On Power BI, I can use my merge. So they are literally all the same thing.
So
It's
I
just
think
different approach.
the difference, maybe the difference that might be there should be maybe would probably be in terms of
The size of
Limitation,
data
the
handling.
capacity.
Yeah,
there
the
are some
capacity.
kind of
Excel is
So if
quite
I think
limitations.
that's what I said earlier. I said understand where you are at, your data maturity level. If you know your data maturity level, you know what works for you.
Yeah.
Right? Just like when you are a 2-year-old that's wearing size 40.
Okay.
When your leg is not you should be wearing maybe size 8 or something, size whatever, I don't know, right? So know where you are at.
Know where you are.
So the group the volume, what's the word now? The more volume or the volume of your data, right? The
will determine the kind of tool you should use.
So Excel is great. Excel is versatile. Excel is a wizard.
Yeah.
Can literally do not anything.
Anything. Yeah.
I feel like one downside of it is data data handling.
Yes. If you go and
there
put
are-
like 30,000 row in your
there are
Excel,
bytes
go
of
they
data
hang,
you
it
cannot
go
handle.
freeze,
To
it go
just
shake.
get- so
Even if
even-
your laptop now Core 7, Core
Yeah.
Core
So yeah,
15,
but I've not
sef,
explored it to
nothing.
that extent. I know with my experience, I don't think it cannot handle big data.
It can't.
It
It can't.
cannot,
No, no,
it
no,
cannot.
no, no, no.
And then you want to also do some big data processing, transformation, and all of that. Excel, I don't think it falls.
But
for
in
that
my
way.
opinion, I feel like there are some people that it depends on your
Yeah.
skill level in Excel.
Yeah.
There are some guys that maybe back in the day itself, like people using VBA, the programmers that we have now, back then it used to be like they do their programming, their business programming on Excel
yeah.
predominantly.
Primarily.
Like even using macroserve and all of these modules, you see people program on Excel, like hardcore programming. Even surprisingly, we still have them now that they still subscribe to Excel. And there are some guys that they are pure data analysts and every of their dashboarding analysis, everything is on Excel.
Yeah.
But it's just something that okay, the limitation is still on the number of data sets like that they have.
Yeah.
So you cannot be working with maybe like 50K and 50,000 or 50
50K is even small.
50K,
1 million.
like 50 million
Yeah.
kind
50 million.
of data
Yeah,
or 2 million
yeah,
kind of data. And you want to be using Excel.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable.
It's not.
And the kind of ways of okay, what's your data injection approach?
flow,
How are you
yeah.
getting your data into the system? So do you need a database or not?
Yeah.
So all those kind of things are things that okay, based on what you said at maturity level. So the data is if your company is data matured
Yeah.
to use maybe some advanced technologies in your data processing, then sure you can go with it. But I feel like that's the reason why they're even bringing Python into Excel, just because you cannot just do Excel. You cannot
No, you
do your
can't. You
data
can't do
thing
Excel,
alone,
but
sef,
Excel
like,
is still primary. Excel is still
Excel
really
is
primary.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So back to my people that wanted to know like what do you actually do like
Can
in
you
data.
tell us one of your own
Yeah.
struggles.
How? I mean, like me, I don't have experience like my boss is here. I
You've been
do,
working now,
but,
so tell
but
us.
let me
Yeah,
just
tell us.
say, yeah. So, coming into the data field, before I joined the field, when you go to LinkedIn, you see people just posting, "Oh, I'm glad to show that I did this dashboard.
Happy to.
I'm glad to show that I did that dashboard. I'm glad to." The pressure, Paul. Me, I never even my LinkedIn till now. I'm not. Please don't be like me. Optimize your LinkedIn, please. Don't be like me. So, like everybody just building dashboard. So a lot of people just feel okay as a data analyst, just know how to build dashboard. But no, there's a lot much more. As a data analyst, you are to like my boss here. You are a problem solver. You are to listen to the issues of your stakeholders, right? Like the example that my boss said here about your stakeholders don't come to you and say, we want to know our top performing clients, so that let us at least bring them and reward them. You understand? So now you will now be the one to go back and say, okay, what metrics are we going to use to classify that a person is a top performer? Is it okay he has bought from us the most, or he has been buying consistently? Someone could just buy a one-off purchase that someone that been buying for like 5 months has purchased in 5 months, but you bought once. But if you are doing the records, you will see that person is going to come out top. But as a data analyst, you have to know, if I analyze the data this way, it's not going to give me the true picture of people that are actually top performing. You understand? So you have to look at consistency. This customer has the possibility of returning back to me, because I'm going to be keen about customer that is going to come and buy from me over and over again. That's someone that's just going to buy and just
check
get out.
like
You get
your customer retention rate.
So now you are listening to what your stakeholders need, like their problems, and then you have to profess solutions. So your solutions just come in form of like dashboards, right? So another thing that is very key as a data analyst, you should be able to tell a story. Right,
Yeah,
you can't just build a dashboard that someone just look. You just build a dashboard that just say top number of people, top number of product, top. No, what is your data? When someone goes to your database, what is it communicating to them? What is your database? Because your database is a preacher. Your dashboard is preaching. Yes, it's preaching. It's preaching the word.
Evangelist Favour.
Yeah. Your dashboard is preaching. Like what is your dashboard preaching to, your stakeholders? You understand? So you are a problem solver, you are a critical thinker, you are the eyes of the business. Like I've attended some meetings where let's say they want to do a review, and some people just say, we did not do well because rain was falling. No, show us the data. Show us the data. Data is the true picture of your company. Data is something you cannot manipulate. You cannot manipulate. So knowing, like, establishing this is what you actually do as a data analyst. It is much more than just your dashboards. It is like there's a whole lot, like behind the scenes, like my boss, there's a whole lot of transformation. Whether you are a data engineer, you are a data analyst, your primary role is problem solving, right? Because like I said, no stakeholder is going to tell you, oh, I want you to use this tool. They are just going to tell you their problem. I was trying to teach one of my friends something recently, and I told him, I was trying to explain, okay, this logical statements, right? So understand why you use and. You understand why you use equals to. So like I was trying to say, okay, this person must have this change. Which logical operations are you going to use? You understand? You must be able to translate that stakeholders logic. Communication to data analytics logic. That is like I feel like that's like the most important skill you need as a data analyst. That is what your job entails. If you've not mastered that, you've not mastered that gap, you won't do well as a data analyst. So yes, like my bosses they have spoken about so many struggles. I mean, like
there's even one that
so many struggles
now, and which is one thing that I think at some point in one of my company, right, I always insist, right, that they see this. Okay, let me streamline into data BI, right? They see BI people as the means to an end, like
means to an end.
We just need you to get whatever we want when it comes to that. Okay, a particular development is going on, maybe a product feature is launching or something is going on in the system, and you're not aware. And then when they now need data, that's when they now remember, oh, we need data about this. How do you expect to provide information that you don't have sufficient understanding of, right? So I always insist that at least at the conceptual phase of this particular project or development, let us have a representation.
Let's be informed.
You are able to give your own subject matter opinion. As far as data, you are the subject matter expert of your own domain, which is data. So you can tell them, oh, this is how this data should be. This is how for the kind of metrics that we might look at, we might want to look at. At the end of this is how. So you can also give your own subject matter opinion, right? And also you have sufficient information, understanding of what is going on, so that when data requirements or data needs come, you are able to address these needs from a place of knowledge, right? So I feel like a lot of data professionals just see themselves as or let me say the business or stakeholders or the society has made us see ourselves as consumers. The bottom barrel. You're not a bottom barrel, you are a stakeholder yourself. So always insist, anywhere you find yourself, and this is to you or viewers, wherever you're working, always make sure that you are on the table. I mean, it might be difficult, it might be hard, maybe you are the only person in your team and you're even an intern. So how do you even want to say, but insist, right? Make sure that you are in the development life cycle of the project or the whatever it is that is going on that would generate data. Insist that you are part of that life cycle. At least if as bad as it bad, like you say, at the middle, right? Don't wait till after everything. They now say, we need this particular measure. You're wondering how. You now start spending, more productive time to be, looking for information, connecting with this person. Please, I want to understand this and that. When you could have actually gotten this information from the start, right? So you are a subject matter expert yourself, right? See yourself that way, and I feel like that would also make you more productive.
I just thought of something like, how do you guys manage like stakeholders? Like, okay, stakeholders want something in a particular way, but I think that's explaining. But like, I hope you guys get like, stakeholders want something in a particular way, but that way cannot work. Like, you now want to suggest something, but say no, they want this particular way. I'm trying to pick the kind of example. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Sufficient.
Like some stakeholders, like, it's crazy. So like, I don't know. There was a time that one of my bosses, so one of our guys, our stakeholder, met him, said, I don't want to mention his name. So he said, "Oh, Oga, do this predictive model for me. I want the next 2 hours. I want to know." I'm like, I don't understand. So I told my boss now came to me, said, "Favour, how do we run this thing?" I said that, why can't you just tell him that it cannot work? I mean, like, you just think I would just carry the data and do yaba yaba yaba. Nah, it has turned to. I mean, like, there's a whole lot. And like, you have to start from thinking, processing. You have to process, digest. Okay, you digest and like you cut the information you got into them. You have to put it in pieces. Then you now have to think how you can put those pieces together. You now have to start thinking of the logic you are going to use in whatever tool you are going to bring it all together. There's a lot. Sometimes try and error, and maybe you now rush your work. And these people are talking about sanity, because if you are not able to answer every little question about your and another thing, once you make a mistake once, like you just give a stakeholder wrong data, I just feel like they lose their trust in you.
Yes, no.
Sometimes I get this
most often than not, they are the architect of this. Of the problem.
Sure, and you just hear that. Hi Suraj, please, can you give me a correct?
Correct. Like, why do you have to say like
correct report?
And then there's something I want to also say, right? I know, you are the data expert, right? Either as data analyst, data engineer, or whatever. Don't be afraid when. At that point in time, you are the subject matter expert. Like, I repeat that. You're the subject matter expert, right? So, if there's any requirements or any expectation or whatever they say they want this, if it is not realistic, don't be shy or don't be afraid to say, I'm sorry, it cannot work this way.
These are own kids.
Don't say because they are collecting salary.
I was thinking, even that person that mentioned 2 hours, they're supposed to be like a gathering phase.
Yeah, exactly. There was no gathering, nothing.
There was no conversation. There was no discussion on this. You just want me to give you 2 hours.
2 hours. So
no. It doesn't work that way.
If they're asking for something and you know that it is not. I mean, impossible. They say impossible is nothing.
Very plain. Like,
but if it is not possible, just say it cannot work, or it's not possible. Okay, you can look for a more 9 to 5 way of saying.
No, but what do you want me to? How do you want me to get that?
I don't understand. Like, he just sent a message and said, "I want it in 2 hours."
You think about like so many things, logics, and all of the things you want to put together just to.
It's sort of.
Don't be afraid to. Don't be afraid to say. To stand on business.
Stand on business.
I know,
stand on business.
You have to also
for you now. Because you present it and they will tell you that, okay, you have supplied this thing and you it's not working. I'll be like, how is it not working? You should have just requested that. It's not going to, because you just give me like 1 more day or 2 more days.
Right.
So if you don't say it at that instance, it's going to be like, okay, so what do you mean?
And if there's a problem, it's you that they will never see themselves as the problem. These stakeholders, they will never see themselves as the problem. One thing that I practice, I know if something, I learned it from one of my bosses, right? If something is going to take me 2 days, I will tell it to take me 4 days. Because I just have to create that extra time, and space for, okay, let me test run. And sometimes when you're working on something, when you have completed it, you might just be sleeping and you just think, oh, I can actually do this to make it more improved. Do you understand?
There's one thing there's one thing a friend of mine says that it's better to underpromise and overdeliver than to overpromise and underdeliver. Like, okay, you said a project should take 2 days. Although most times, if you are going to be very sincere, it might not always work because of actually there are some kind of industry or organization where things are fast paced. For example, if you are working in a retail
you need it sharp,
FMCG kind of where things are going on, or you're working in a financial institution where transactions are going on. But then there are ways around it. We can talk about it in subsequent episodes, right? But it's better to it's more efficient to under promise and over deliver. At least if it take 2 days, if you say 3 days, you know in your mind that okay, I can finish this in less than 2 days or less than 3 days. But
even 1 day.
At least give that 1 day gap to sale so that you are able to dot your I's and cross your T's, right? Because that will also give them trust when things are running smoothly. But if things go bad the first time, second time, they lose their trust.
They lose trust.
This guy, even though you know your stuff, but you know. So that's one thing.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but we've said a lot today. I mean, there are so many problems that we as data analysts face, and people have different experience. I'm very sure you have. You can
I did data as a data engineer. You build pipelines a lot, you know, and most of these pipelines are, you know, they are dependencies, right? One task is dependent on the other and all of that. So, and you know, your data is moving from a source to a destination. So, because you don't have so much control on what happens at the source level, because in a normal structured organization, you have like the database admin or database developers are the ones that, you know, everything transaction data and everything that you want. So you just feed from whatever is in the production system to your data warehouse or your destination, where whatever destination you're using for reporting. And then you've already set up your pipeline, you know, and all of a sudden something breaks and you now find out that maybe a particular table was dropped or a particular column was removed or renamed or something without, you know, you're unaware, right? And then the stakeholders are asking that this report, and because a lot of reports are depending on maybe that particular data mart or that particular whatever stored procedure or view you've created for the analyst, and then they're like, we cannot see this thing again. Oh, this thing is, and then you have to now spend extra hours to now start troubleshooting and finding out this problem. So these are things that people don't. People just think, you know, say I'm a data engineer or is it fancy.
It's cool.
It's a lot of things that go behind
serious because this. So for a data engineer now, like so there was this experience I had like in this very last week. So where there's a dashboard that's supposed to track activities of, you know, different locations, different business branches. So, but surprisingly, when we were checking, and we just noticed that there are some data that were supposed to be evident in the dashboard that we did not see. So, but you know, just because let's say the manager now just wanted to expedite the process, so they're supposed to be, you know, because I'm into governance, so it's going to be, I'll be giving you cases of where we are having data inaccuracy or something like that. So, but it was something that when we checked, we had to we got to know that the manager, so that it could just fast track the process. So it was just those agents would just go out with the items, just go out to go and make sales instead of them to make the bookings on the app, so we can capture all the activities, all the processes going on. But to us, from our own end, let's say yesterday, nothing happened yesterday. To them, many things happened. They made sales of maybe, let's say, over 1K worth of. But to us, it was a 0. So there, we could not see, even if you are the best data analyst or the best data engineer that has structured your pipeline in a well-structured manner. So, but it's still going to be that the people that will be using these solutions that you have created and what you want to show to the stakeholders or to the business, if they're not using it, they're not saying that, okay, an order has been created, somebody has delivered it at this time, at this location, at this cost, this number of quantities. Nothing, you cannot see it. So everything is just happening offline. So to you now, you're expecting something to give like insight, but to them, they have run everything, it's going fine, it's going smooth to them, and it's just be like, what is happening? So those are some of the things we face, and you'll be like, are you not doing your analytics well? Your dashboard not dashboarding well, and all of those things. So many things.
Many. There are so many things. I mean, if we keep talking about your experience, this podcast is not end. So I'm very sure like you've had a lot of funny experiences for like my bosses and myself we have spoken about. I'm very sure you yourself, you have a lot of like chaotic experiences. So you can let us know your experience as a data analyst right in the comments so that people can see. So please, it's not always bad. It's not always tough. Like there are other good sides of being a data analyst, but we just wanted to show you.
It's different thing for different folks now.
Right? Yeah. So that people that are about to come into the field can know what we go through or things we do as data professionals ourselves. So we hope you were able to pick one or two from this session. We'll see you on our next episode. Please like, subscribe, share on our platform, and catch you in the next episode. Bye,
Thank you guys. Yeah.